Oh dear me, the Duchess, I shall be late.
Oh dear.
Oh my ears, my whiskers, something has fallen down my rabbit hole.
Oh, goodness.
It sounds like a little girl.
Down, down, down. I wonder where I'm falling to.
It is a little girl.
After such a fall as this, I shall think nothing of falling downstairs. Why, I shouldn't say a word even if it fell off the top of the house.
Which is very likely true.
How dark it looks ahead.
Oh my ears, my whiskers, she's coming to the edge. What if she would break to bits when she falls off?
Hi, here I go.
Oh, I can't look. Little girls can't eat like rabbits.
Is this the end?
The question is there any such thing?
Of course there is. Everything comes to an end sometime.
It might be a beginning, you know.
Beginning of what?
How can I tell her to know more about you? Oh, it didn't hurt you at all?
That it didn't, and it's very curious because it lasted a very long time.
That's because you belong here.
Where am I?
That all depends on what's going on inside you.
I wish you wouldn't talk nonsense.
I'd wish you mind your manners.
I didn't mean to be rude.
Then don't be. It doesn't work down here.
I only asked, where am I?
And I told you, where you belong, and that all depends on what's going on inside you.
I don't know what you mean.
How do you suppose you got down my rabbit hole?
I fell. I was sitting by my sister on the riverbank, and I saw you run by. You were talking to yourself, and then I saw you take a watch out of your pocket, and I got so curious, I ran after you. And when you popped down the rabbit hole, I popped down right after you.
And you entirely forgot that little girls can't go down rabbit holes?
Why, in my world they can. You see, in my world, everything would be nonsense. What it is would be what it isn't, and what it isn't would be what it is. Contrary-wise, what it could, it couldn't, and what it couldn't, it could. You see, cats and rabbits would reside in fancy little houses and be dressed in shoes and hats and trousers. In a world of my own, and the flowers would have very extra special powers. They could sit and talk to me for hours when I'm lonely in a world of my own. There'd be new birds, lots of nice and friendly howdy-do birds. Everyone would have a dozen bluebirds within that world of my own. No more trouble, for the greatest problem would be things a child can understand. And if somehow things could be that way, my little world would be a wonderland.
Exactly. And you never once stopped to think, how in the world are we ever going to get back again?
Oh dear. I think I'll just go back, please, back where I came from.
It's one thing to think so, and another to do it.
I wish you wouldn't contradict me all the time.
Oh, very well. Go ahead. Fall up again.
You don't fall up, you climb. Where I fell off, it went up like a wall. Suppose I couldn't climb it?
I am supposing it.
A little frightened me. Oh, Rabbit, please, I want to go back.
It's of no use whatever to want that.
Why not?
Every hour is a one-way road. It will take you wherever you choose, but then it will never take you back again.
I want to see the sky. I want to see my kitten. Isn't there any way out of here?
Dozens of ways. There's a way for me, there's a way for you. There's a way for Johnny, and there's a way for Sue. But you can't go back, and you walk alone. For every Jack has a way of its own. Now your way is through the garden where the child is headed.
How can I get to the garden?
You can't.
You're very confusing. First you say I must go through it, and then you say I can't.
I didn't say that. I said you couldn't go to it.
Then how am I to go through it? Answer that.
When you belong in the garden, it will come to you.
I never saw a garden move.
I never saw much, and that's a fact. The Duchess, oh my voices. I'm late for a very important day. No time to say hello, goodbye. I'm late, and when I wave, I lose the time I save. My fuzzy ears and whiskers took me too much time to shave. I run and then I up. I wish that I could fly. There's danger if I dare to stop, and there's no reason why. You see, I'm overdue. I'm in a rabbit stew. Can't even say hello, goodbye. I'm late.
Rabbit! Look, Rabbit!
Would make you late.
About what?
About her garden. Tell her we'll never come to her. Tell she learns to keep her temper.
Rabbit, you!
Such a temper! You'd better wait and tell her yourself.
Would make you late. I promised the Duchess I am to speak of peace at her party. I am to speak how doth the little. How doth the little busy bee improve each shining hour and gather honey all day for every fragrant flower. Beautiful, isn't it?
If you like it. It makes me feel contrary.
Rabbit! One rabbit!
You tell her about her temper.
I will if she makes me feel friendly. If she makes me feel contrary, I'll be contrary. I won't tell her a single thing. What do you mean? Explain yourself.
I can't explain myself, sir, because I'm not myself. You see?
I do not see.
Well, when I got up this morning, I was just Alice. But a little while ago, I was the size of a rabbit. And now I'm the size of a mushroom. Oh, being so many sizes in a day is confusing.
It isn't.
Well, maybe you haven't found it so yet, but someday you'll turn into a chrysalis, and then into a butterfly. And you'll feel a bit queer then, won't you?
Not a bit.
Well, it feels queer to me, as if I were somebody stupid.
You are.
That I'm not. I'm the head of my class. Oh, see if I know the things I did before. 4 times 5 is 12.
Wrong.
Okay. Now try geography. The capital of London is Paris. Oh, that's not right, I'm certain.
Try some poetry.
I'll recite How doth the little. How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail, and pour the waters of the Nile on every fragrant scale. I'm afraid that's not quite right.
It's wrong from beginning to end.
You see, sir, I've changed a great deal.
You haven't?
It's no use talking to you. I have to find the garden where the trial is. The things you say are of no use to me at all.
They are.
You make such very short and rude remarks.
I don't.
If you're going to contradict everything I say...
I'm not.
Well, you can't deny you've been doing it this whole time.
I can. Come back. I've something important to say. Keep your temper.
Is that all?
No.
What else, sir?
Saying it is one thing, and doing it is another.
Keeping my temper, you mean? Well, I'll do my best. I'm usually very polite. Things are so weird down here. What shall I do next?
Ask the Duchess. Knock on her door.
There isn't any door.
There is.
Well, that wasn't very civil of him. This must be the Duchess's house. Now I'll keep my temper, no matter what they say. I'll keep my temper.
There's no use in knocking. I'm on the same side of the door as you are.
Well, please then, how am I to get in?
Are you to get in at all? That's the first question.
I'd like to ask the Duchess the way to the garden.
They're making such noise in there. Nobody can
Achoo!
hear you.
Achoo! What am I to do? Anything you like. Well, it's no use talking to you. I'll just go in myself. That I will. Achoo! Achoo! They sent me to my trapper. Achoo! And that's so too much. Achoo! Too little. Taste.
To your little boy and beat him when he sneezes.
Fred, bring in the soup. The house will be leaving any minute. Tidy up
And catch us. She said in the garden. Would you please tell me?
There's no use in asking me. I'm not going to talk about gardens.
I must ask someone. What sort of people live around here?
To the right lives a hatter. To the left lives a march hare. You can visit either you like. They're both mad.
I don't want to go among mad people.
You can't help it. We're all mad here. Now give me the pig.
You shouldn't call the baby pig.
That's all you know about it.
Which shall I visit, I wonder? I hope they're not quite raving mad.
Here's the place. Clean and clean. Not a single crumb.
Help me with the table!
They didn't seem to see me. Now I'm going to be polite this time, no matter what they say, because I must find a way into the garden. Because, of course, the rabbit was talking nonsense. A garden couldn't come to me.
Did you tell the dormouse that we were moving?
I couldn't find him!
He's asleep. I put him in the teapot.
You don't have to carry him! Teapots are all! Well, drag him.
Be quick or the tea will get cold.
You'll have to help me with him.
If you please, will you tell me?
No!
There's plenty of room.
Have some candy.
I don't see any.
There isn't any.
Then it wasn't very civil of you to offer it.
It wasn't very civil of you to sit down here without being invited.
I didn't know it was your table. It's laid out for a few, many more than 3. Now, anyway, if you please, will you tell me?
Tell her.
You don't even know what I'm going to ask yet.
It doesn't matter what it is.
What matters is how you behave.
Ask her a riddle.
Ah, why is a raven like a writing desk?
I think I can guess that one.
Do you mean you think you can guess the answer to it?
Exactly so.
Then you should say what you mean.
I do, at least. I mean what I say. They're the same thing, you know.
Not the same thing a bit. You might just as well say, I see what I eat. It's the same as I eat what I see.
You might as well say, I like what I get just as soon as I get what I like. You might just as well say, I breathe what I sleep as the same as I sleep what I breathe.
Have you guessed the riddle yet?
Why is a raven like a writing desk? No, I give up. What's the answer?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Nor I. Well, I think you might find something better to do with your time than asking riddles that haven't any answer.
We don't have anything else to do with our time given to have tea. It's always 6 o'clock.
Is that why so many tea things are put out?
Yes, that's it. It's always tea time and we haven't had time to wash things between whiles.
So you keep moving around, I suppose.
Exactly so. Oh, I can come now.
Wake up. Wake up. We want to move. Come on.
Try some hot tea.
It's no use. He won't wake up until half after 6.
You know, it's very trying to always hope on this system.
I told you to put some butter in it.
Oh, please don't do that.
Why not?
You'll spoil it.
It's the best butter.
Oh, you mustn't.
Did you ever try it?
No.
Then you shouldn't talk. And leave bread.
Anyway, don't put it in with the bread knife. You're bound to get crumbs in it as well.
Maybe that's just what it needs.
You'll stop your watch.
How can I stop it when it isn't going?
Answer that.
I can't, but...
Hold your tongue.
It was the best butter, you know.
Try some hot tea.
It's no use. It's still 6 o'clock. We'll have to move him.
This isn't very tidy. It's been used before.
What's good enough for us is good enough for you.
If it was good enough, why didn't you stay there?
The rule is, move down one space.
Now that there are 4 of us...
If you can't be civil, you better wait till you're invited.
I didn't mean to be rude.
I'm sorry. I wrote the young lady besides the poem.
I'm afraid I wouldn't get it quite right.
Recite, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Twinkle, twinkle. Pinch him.
Twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at. I'm afraid that's not quite right.
There's nothing right about it.
Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. Can't you rub both sides at once?
Oh, you spilled the milk.
You're coming once!
I can't pick up milk.
You can't do much, and that's a fact.
I'd be happy to wipe it up if I had a cloth, and it's gone onto the ground too.
There's plenty of clean ground. Help us move the table.
Remind what you think about while you do it.
Please, what must I think about?
All manner of things, everything that begins with M.
Mouse traps. The moon. Memory. Muchness.
Why with an M?
Why not?
Have some more tea.
I've had nothing yet, so I can't have more.
You can't take less. It's very easy to take more than nothing.
Nobody asked your opinion. Or, that is, thank you. It's very easy to take more than nothing.
Sit down and do it then.
Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. Put him in the teapot.
Please, my twinkle asking, but how do I get to the garden?
Just keep on the way you're going now.
Keep on the way I'm going now. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right in one place.
The question is there any such thing?
Of course there is. Every place is one place.
Certainly not. For instance, this was the place where you lost your temper, wasn't it?
I'm afraid so.
That's one. Now it's the place where you kept it, isn't it?
I tried to.
That's two. And now it's the place where there isn't any garden, isn't it?
And yet I did keep my temper. I was very polite.
That's three. And now it's the place where there is a garden. That's four.
But what a lovely garden. But I don't see any place for a trial.
How do you know you don't?
Well, there ought to be jury benches where a trial is. I don't quite know what they are, but I've read about them in the paper.
You don't belong in the trial yet. When you do, the jury benches will be right here.
Will they come when I don't know it? Like the garden.
Yes, but you have to run very fast. Very, very fast.
Why must I run if the trial's right here?
It'll be one of those times where you have to run as fast as you can to stay right in one place, or faster.
I wish you wouldn't keep talking nonsense.
Of course, if you begin losing your temper again...
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really very, very sorry. I can't seem to help it. All the creatures contradict me so. They seem to think I don't amount to anything at all.
The question is, do you?
I'm afraid I don't amount to much. All the creatures look down on me. They find fault with me. And it upsets me. Please, Rabbit, tell me how I can stop feeling this way.
I can, yes, but it's of no use whatever to tell you.
Why not?
You'll never know until you've done it.
Sounds sort of easy. Just not to let them make me feel good for nothing.
That's it.
I can hardly wait to find someone to begin.
Beautiful soup, so rich and green, waiting in a hot tureen, whose courses dainties would not spoon.
Who is that?
It's the mock turtle.
I never saw a mock turtle. What's he like?
He's the one they make mock turtle soup of course.
Oh, I'm a little afraid. I suppose it's because I'm not used to him.
You should be glad of that. The things to be afraid of is getting used to things. Something you never saw before. It's exciting.
I suppose that's right. I haven't the least idea what a mock turtle is, but I'm not going to let him make me feel good for nothing. That I won't. What if I don't amount to anything at all?
Of course you don't. Nobody does.
Don't you?
Of course I do. Everybody does.
You're confusing. How can I amount to much and not amount to much at the same time?
That's what nobody knows, but you do.
Well, I'm sure I amount to much as that mock turtle, because he doesn't sing at all well, and I was chosen to sing on the last day of school. I declare he's coming here. I better go by myself to practice.
That'll never work. The way not to feel good for nothing is to forget all about it. And to forget all about it is to remember somebody else. Now, I wonder whether she'll come across anyone else that'll make her forget all about it. Well, it makes no difference in the taste of carrots.
Beautiful soup, so rich and green, soup of the evening. Beautiful soup.
What's his sorrow?
He hasn't got any sorrow. It's all his fancy that.
What a curious creature.
What curious manners. But I don't suppose you've had many lessons in manners.
Manners are taught in lessons.
That's all you know about it.
It was the very first lesson we learned in school. The master was an old turtle.
Why'd you call him Tortoise when he wasn't one?
We called him Tortoise because he taught us. Really, you are very dull.
What else had you to learn besides manners?
The different branches of arithmetic. Ambition, distraction, amplification, and derision.
How many hours a day had you to do lessons?
10 the first, 9 the second, 8 the third, and so on.
What a curious plan.
That's why they're called lessons, because they lesson from day to day.
Anyone might know that.
How did you manage the 11th day?
We danced the lobster quadrille.
Never heard of a lobster quadrille.
I don't suppose she could dance with us.
Oh, I'm sure I could if you showed me the steps. I took a prize in dancing class a week ago Saturday. Let's begin.
Will you walk a little faster, said a white to a snail. There's a porpoise close behind me and he's treading on my tail. Can't you see how eagerly the lobsters, turtles, elephants? They're waiting on a shingle, won't you come and join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you, will you join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you, won't you join the dance?
There's no use in going on with her. She doesn't know anything at all.
Could not, would not, could not join the dance. Would not, could not, would not, could not join the dance.
You stepped on my toes and got my way. I wouldn't dance a lobster quadrille for anything in the world.
Did you say wouldn't or couldn't?
It wouldn't, but I'm afraid I meant couldn't.
Oh, I thought you did.
I give myself very good advice, but I very seldom follow it. That explains the trouble that I'm always in. Being patient is very good advice, but the waiting makes me curious. And I'd love to change should something strange begin. I'm sure that I know right from wrong, and I have the best intention. Life should be such a merry song, but there is where I give myself very good advice, but I very seldom follow it. Will I ever learn to do things I should?
No help, contrary-wise. If you think your wax works, you ought to pay, you know. If you think we're alive, then you ought to speak.
I didn't mean to be rude.
I know what you're thinking, but it isn't so. No how. Contrary-wise, if it was so, it might be. And if it were so, it would be. But it isn't, it ain't. That's logic.
Thinking, I know who you are. Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
You begun wrong. The first thing in a visit is to say, how do you do, and shake hands. You go through life and never know what day when fate may bring. A situation that will prove to be embarrassing. Your face gets red, you hide your head and wish that you could die. But that's old fashioned, here's the thing that you should really try. Say, how do you do, and shake hands, shake hands, shake hands. How do you do, and shake hands, state your name and business. While at a wedding finds a mess, her face she ought to hide. And when you find her talking to the mother of the bride, say, how do you do? And shake hands, shake hands, shake hands. How do you do? And shake hands. State your name and business. While walking through a cemetery very late at night, you find that you're confronted by a figure dressed in white. And though the blood inside your veins has quickly turned to ice, everything will be okay if you take my advice. Say, how do you do? And shake hands, shake hands, shake hands. How do you do? And shake hands. State your name and business. You walk into a restaurant as hungry every minute. You order everything from the menu from A to Z.
You realize that you haven't got a single cent with you. And when the manager comes over, this is what you do. Say, how do you do? And shake hands, shake hands, shake hands. How do you do? And shake hands. State your name and business. A handshake and a happy greeting is mighty hard to beat. So at the risk of boring you, I'm going to repeat. Remember in the future that no matter what you do, here's one way to get out of any mess you get into. Say, how do you do? And shake hands, shake hands, shake hands. How do you do? And shake hands. State your name and business. You see, I can dance when it's a sensible dance.
Did you think you couldn't?
Well, things are so clear lately. Everything I try to do is wrong.
What sort of things?
Well, poetry.
Do you like poetry?
Some poetry, when I know what it means.
That sounds clever. The trouble is, not everything that sounds clever is clever. No how, contrary-wise. We must find out, is she stupid, or does she only seem stupid? Well, try her on a poem. What shall we recite? The Walrus and the Carpenter is the longest.
Is this some sort of examination?
To see whether you're clever or stupid.
Oh dear. What's it about?
The Walrus and the Carpenter. They were walking on the seashore and got very hungry. And then they remembered the oysters who lived in the sea. Once a walrus met a carpenter, where the sea was green and green, where the beach was wide from side to side and much too full of sand. Mr. Walrus and the carpenter, my brains begun to purr. We'll sweep and clear in half a year if you don't mind the work. Now comes the first part of the examination. We'll recite the rest of the poem. If you're clever, you can tell us when we come to the point. And if you're stupid, you can't. No how, contrary-wise.
Well, continue.
Oh, oysters, said the walrus, we invite you one and each for a pleasant walk, a pleasant talk along the pearly beach. And the eldest of the oysters suddenly shook his heavy head. He grieved and peeped and hollered, don't leave your oyster bed.
You have not come to the point yet.
No how, contrary-wise. The time has come, the walrus said, to speak of other things, of shoes and ships and suits and cabbages and beans, and by the sea is boiling hot and by the face of wings. Go look, go there, we'll roast away the cabbages and beans.
You must nearly reach the point. Now I'm going to listen very carefully.
So the oysters went to follow, and their shells and shoes were neat. But I fear, my dear, you'll find this queer because they had no feet. So the oysters were out of breath, and they said, let's stop and chat, 'cause most of us are ready to rest. You say we're much too fat.
That's it, you come to the point. I don't think I was ever so happy in my life. I'm gonna pass.
That's only a little bit clever, you know. Now I'm going to see if you can repeat one of the stanzas correctly. If you're clever, you can. And if you're stupid, you can't.
Oh dear.
Try if you can repeat this. It's the most important part of the whole poem. The time is up, the walrus said, to speak of other things, of shoes and ships and seas and rice and cabbages and beans, and why the sea is boiling hot and weather is our breeze. Now, repeat it.
I'll do my best. The time has come, the walrus said, to speak of other things. Of shoes and ships and, sealing wax. Of cabbages and kings. And why the sea is boiling hot. And whether pigs have wings. That's right, I did it!
That's only middlingly clever, you know. Now I'm going to see if you can make up your mind. That would be very clever indeed.
What must I make up my mind about?
Which you like better, the walrus or the carpenter?
That ought to be easy. Tell me what each of them did, then I'll know.
You must guess what they did by what they said.
Well, continue.
Said the walrus, just a loaf of bread, walrus yet. I went through, said the walrus, I deeply sympathize. With sobs and tears he sorted out those of the largest size. Then he held his pocket handkerchief before his dreamy eyes. I did not know the grief I feel for eating such a prize.
Did the carpenter eat them too? If he did, I hate them both.
But you must choose, you know. Listen to the rest. Oh, oysters, said the carpenter, it was kind of you to come. You were very nice, another slice and we'll be off to home. Haven't you had such a pleasant time in the warm and sunny sun? But no answer came and he proclaimed they'd eat everyone. The time has come, the walrus said, to speak of other things. I shares a chance to see the birds and cabbages and beans. And why the sea is smiling at him by their face and wings. The local little rose and white with cabbages and beans. Now make up your mind. Which do you like better?
Neither one. Because you can't like someone better when you don't like them at all. Well, I don't like the walrus, and I don't like the carpenter, so I can't like one better. It's a foolish question.
She can make up her mind. She's not a stupid child.
Yay!
It's the Queen's croquet game.
Was brillig, and the slithy toads did gyre and gimble in the wave. Oh, mimsy were the world roads, and the momes wrath of grave. Beware of the jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware of the jug bird, and shooting the freemiest bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the maxim foe he sought. So rested he by the tom-tom tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uppish thought he stood, the jabberwock, with eyes of flame, came whiffling through the tolgy wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through. The vorpal blade would snick or snack, he left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the jabberwock? Then come to my arms, my English boy. Oh, friend to stay, come you colloy. He chortled in his joy. Here, hold my melancholy visage.
I don't know, I lost count.
She can't do addition!
Can you do subtraction? Take 9 from 8.
9 from 8? You can't, but...
She can't do subtraction!
Try again. Take a bone from a dog. What remains?
Well, the bone wouldn't remain, of course, because I took it. And the dog wouldn't remain. It would come to bite me. And I'm sure I shouldn't remain. So I think nothing would remain.
Wrong!
The dog's temper would remain.
I don't sons.
Recite! You are old, Father William.
I don't know that, but I can recite part of the law.
Repeat after me. You are old, Father William, the young man cried, and the hair which is left you is gray. Yet you're strong, Father William, a hearty old man. Now tell me the reason, I pray.
I think I can remember that.
Don't interrupt! In the days of my youth, Father William replied, I knew that my youth would fly fast, and abused not my health and my vigor at first, that I never might need it at last. Now repeat the whole.
I'll do my best. You are old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white. Yet incessantly you stand on your head. Do you think at your age this is right? Some of the words have got altered.
Try the second stanza.
In the days of my youth, Father replied to his son, I feared it might injure the brain. But now that I'm practically sure I have none, I do it again and again.
That's not said right.
Not quite right, I'm afraid.
It's wrong from beginning to end.
How tall did you say you were?
I'm 4 feet and...
Wrong.
She never said a word like that.
I thought you meant how tall are you?
If I meant that, I said that. There's glory for you.
There's glory.
What do you mean by glory?
I mean, there's a nice knockdown argument for you.
Glory doesn't mean a nice knockdown argument.
When I say a word, it means just as I choose it to mean, neither more nor less.
The question is, how can you make a word mean so many different things?
The question is, which is to be master, you or your words. That's all.
That's all.
Anyway, I don't believe...
She doesn't believe.
I'll give you something to believe. I'm just 101 years old, 5 months and a day.
I can't believe that.
Try again. Draw a long breath and shut your eyes.
It's no use. I can't believe in impossible things.
She can't believe. I dare say she hasn't much practice. When I was her age, I did it for a half hour each day. Sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast.
Did you say you could play croquet?
I used to be very good at it.
Let's see you at the stake then.
I'll give you 3 strokes. Hit or off with your head.
I don't see any stake.
Play.
Miss. 1.
He jumped up.
On with the game. Miss. 2.
It isn't a bit fair.
On with the game. Miss. 3. Off with her head.
Don't worry. The king will pardon you as soon as you're out of sight. He always does.
What was that you said?
Oh, it was of no consequence, Your Majesty. No consequence at all.
Where are my tarts?
Tarts?
He ate my tarts! Off with your head! Off with his head! Executioner! Off with his head at once!
No, Your Majesty.
Silence!
What is the name, Your Majesty?
Who are you?
Who are you?
You can't take off his head until he's had a proper trial.
Who said so?
I say so.
The trial's beginning! Run! Run! We did it! We did it!
Did what?
Stayed right where we were till time for the trial. That's speed!
This looks like the same garden we were in when we started to run.
You have to run at least twice as fast as you can get anywhere else. It takes everything you got to keep the clock from turning back.
Strange.
It happens every day, only you don't notice it.
They're going to be late! Come and help them along!
If you please, I'd like to rest a little. You know, I think the trial has really come here. Those look like the seats for the judges, and these look like the jury benches. I didn't quite know what they looked like, but I had read about them in the paper. I declare, it's too bad to have to run like that. Stay where you are.
It's worse to go backwards, you know?
Do you think the knave stole the tarts?
What's your opinion?
Well, I haven't any yet. because I'm not sure it was the queen's tarts I saw someone else eat. It'd be easier to have an opinion if I knew what I was talking about.
You're wrong about that. The less you know, the faster you get opinions.
Anyway, the queen has no right to say off with his head like that without a proper trial. Suppose the knave didn't do it.
That would be all the better, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be all the better his not doing it, but it wouldn't be all the better his being punished.
You're wrong about that. Were you ever punished?
Only when I'd done something I shouldn't.
And you were all for the better, weren't you?
Yes, but then I had done the thing I was punished for.
But if you hadn't done it, then you would have been better still, wouldn't you?
I suppose so, just the same. I can't stand it if they take off the poor knave's head.
When a thing happens, you stand for it whether you can or not.
Then I won't let it happen. That I won't.
More whiskers, here they come.
Mention that.
What are you writing?
We're writing down our names. For fear we forget them before the trial is over.
Order in the court.
Harold, read the accusation.
The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts, all on a summer day. The knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts and took them quite away.
Consider your verdict.
No, not yet. There's a great deal to come before that.
What?
Well, witnesses.
Call the first witness.
The cook,
Were you in the kitchen when the queen made the tarts?
I was.
You saw her make the tarts.
I oversaw her, Your Majesty.
Did you see anyone else there?
Yes.
Woman or man?
Man.
Describe his costume.
Can't. Didn't see him.
that's because she didn't look where he was, Your Majesty.
Where was he?
He was hiding under tables or behind doors or in ovens or flour barrels or things.
Then how did you know he was there?
Heard him.
What did you hear?
He sneezed.
Try the prisoner with pepper.
Achoo!
The prisoner was in the kitchen. Write it down.
That's not proving, Your Majesty. You should try the other men too.
Quiet.
It isn't a bit fair.
Order in the court.
The cook may stand down.
Shan't.
Off with her head!
I can't go any lower. I'm already on the floor as it is.
Then you may sit down. Call the prisoner.
The knave of Hearts, smile in the presence of the king. I said smile, not snorkel. Mouth a semicircle.
That's the kind of style. Jurors, listen closely. I'm about to make a searching test. Do you know how tarts are made?
I can answer that. You take some flour.
Where do you pick the flour? In the garden or in the window boxes?
It isn't picked. It's ground.
How many acres of ground? You mustn't leave out so many things.
Flour for tarts isn't measured in acres. It's measured in cups or quarts or barrels. The cook is spelling it wrong.
It is of no consequence. It is plain he knows how tarts are made. That proves he was hiding under tables or in flour barrels, watching the queen at her cooking. Write it down.
It proves nothing of the sort. Well, anyway, I don't think it does.
You? Who are you?
Yay!
Suppress the applause.
Hold the evidence! Evidence!
I thought I saw an elephant playing on a fife. I looked again and realized it was a letter from my wife. At length, though, King, I realized the business of life.
That's the most important bit of evidence we've had yet. It practically proves the prisoner's guilt. Jurors, consider it carefully.
If any of them can explain it, I'll give them a sixpence. I don't believe there's an atom of meaning in it.
Well, if there isn't any meaning in it, that saves us a lot of trouble, as we need to try and find it.
And you can't call it evidence against the poor knave.
It's very provoking to be told that we can't call something evidence we wish to call evidence. I shall call anything evidence I wish to do. Impenetrability. That's what I say.
Impenetrability.
Could you please tell me what impenetrability means?
By impenetrability, I meant just now, we've had enough of that subject, and it would be just as well if you would hold your tongue, as I don't suppose you need to stop here all the rest of your life interfering with this trial. So,
I shall interfere with this trial just so long as it isn't fair. So,
Your Majesty, must cross-examine the prisoner.
Call the prisoner. Where were you when the tarts were set out to cool?
In the garden.
Did you see anyone else there?
I saw you cook.
Nothing of the sort. Ask him if he spoke with anyone.
Did you speak with anyone?
he spoke with me.
Did he show any signs of having eaten the tarts?
He's eaten a great many.
How do you know?
He paid me compliments. I deny that. You haven't forgotten the spot where you stopped me from singing a ditty. You said I was plain and excessively vain, but I knew that you meant I was pretty. I didn't know I meant that.
He's too afraid of being found out to know what he means.
I fear he ate the tarts. I fear he ate them all! Write it down!
Stuff and nonsense. What sort of evidence is that? Rub it out.
Your Majesty, must cross-examine the ditty.
Call the ditty.
There was a pig who sat alone beside a ruined pump.
Pump.
By day and night he made his moan, and would have turned a heart of stone to see his ring imposing groan, because he couldn't jump.
Jump.
Up rose that pig, and jumped full whack against that ruined pump.
Pump.
He first saw red, and then saw black, and rolled right over on his back. His snout caved in, his bones went crack. It was a fatal jump.
Jump.
And the prisoner spoke to you about the ditty after you finished
At the top of his voice.
and you didn't know what he meant. That was very bad.
Very bad.
Evidence!
The Mad Hatter.
I thought I saw a rattlesnake that questioned me in Greek. I looked again and realized it was the middle of next week. One thing I regret, okay, is that it can speak.
The middle of next week! He looks guilty.
He acts guilty.
He is guilty. We are ready with the verdict.
Yay!
Suppress that dormouse!
You can't possibly have a verdict yet.
Shall we recite it or sing it?
Say it.
I'll tell thee everything I can. There's little to relate. I saw an aged man a-sitting on a gate. Who are you, aged man? How is it that you live? His answer trickled through my head like water from a sieve. And as if ere by chance I put my fingers into glue, or wildly squeeze a right-handed foot into a left-handed shoe, or if I drop upon my toe a very heavy weight. It'll make me weep so, for it reminds me of the old man I used to know. That summer long ago, a-sitting on a gate.
That you certainly can't call that verdict.
We can and we do.
It's just nonsense.
You may call it nonsense if you like, but I've heard nonsense compared to that which would be as sensible as a dictionary.
The question is the dictionary ever sensible?
Consider the verdict.
There's nothing in that poem to consider.
We are ready with the verdict. It must be whispered.
You call that a whisper? Do such a thing again and I'll have you buttered. Silence. Rule 42. Any child that laughs out loud must leave the court.
That's not an actual rule. You made it up just now.
It's the oldest rule in the book.
Then it ought to be number 1.
On with execution.
No, Your Majesty. The idea of having the execution first? You haven't even had a sensible trial.
First the execution, then the verdict, then the trial.
Nothing of the sort.
Anyway, we have had a trial.
You haven't called all the witnesses. I have some evidence to give.
Your Majesty, here's something that was picked up in the garden. A scroll.
What is in it?
It seems to be a letter written by the prisoner.
Who is it directed to?
It isn't directed at all. That's the strange part of it.
Is it in the prisoner's handwriting?
No, it isn't. And that's the queerest thing about it.
He must have imitated someone's hand.
Your Majesty, I didn't write that. You can't prove I did. My name's not signed at the bottom. There's no name signed at the bottom.
Well, you must have meant mischief for you to sign your name at the bottom like an honest man.
That proves his guilt.
Harold, read it.
It isn't a letter at all. It's a set of verses.
He disguises handwriting.
It's a secret code. It isn't mine. I couldn't write like that if I tried.
Don't try to pull wool over my eyes. You've written it so only you can read it. Very well. Read it yourself then. Start at the beginning and go until you come to the end.
I can't read it.
Can anyone else read this scroll? No. Then it's very plain. Only you can read it, and nobody else could on purpose. There's no telling what is in it. This is terrible.
Terrible. You don't know what's terrible till you know what it says. And no one can prove the knave wrote it.
Read it yourself if the knave didn't write it. Either he wrote it for himself alone or somebody else can read it.
Isn't that true?
It sounds true, but there's something wrong about it.
Read it yourself, then!
Yay!
Suppress that dormouse! Off with his whiskers! Remove him from court!
It looks to me I've seen this writing somewhere before. I don't remember where I was and what I was doing. Yes, I was combing my hair in the looking glass. This is looking glass writing. The title is Jabberwocky.
If she's so sure of that, let her read it, Your Majesty. Let her read it without a stop.
I give you 182 seconds.
'Twas brilling and the slidey toasted gyre and gimbal in the wave. All mimsy were the barrel grooves, and the walrus of grace. Hast thou slain the Jabberwocky?